Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're venturing into something pretty unusual.
Yeah, definitely unusual.
Yeah, it's Basil Le Croix's Book of Forbidden Knowledge. It was published, back in 2006.
Right, Finbar International. And it's not your typical read.
No, definitely not. It claims it holds, dangerous secrets, powerful beliefs, hints at getting wealth, health.
But also warns you, right, handle with care, essentially.
Exactly. So what we're doing today is taking a closer look specifically at the introduction and the first few chapters. They focus a lot on secrecy and ritual.
Trying to pull out the main ideas without getting lost in the more obscure stuff.
Yeah, just giving you the core concepts quickly, but hopefully thoroughly. Okay, so let's unpack this. Right at the start, this Book of Forbidden Knowledge.
Right.
What's the big idea it throws out there?
Well, the thing that hits you straight away is how it frames itself. It's presented as, restricted, special, like forbidden. Exactly. The introduction really hammers that home. It calls itself, I think the quote is, the most dangerous book you will ever hold.
Wow.
Yeah, it talks about secret rituals, powerful belief, and suggests, following its path could really change your life. For better, or maybe worse.
That duality is interesting.
It is. That potential for great reward, but also, significant risk. Sets the tone immediately.
It really taps into that curiosity about the hidden, doesn't it? The forbidden fruit idea.
Absolutely.
And then, bam, chapter 1 jumps right into secrecy. The author's like, okay, you're reading this, you're trusted, don't share it, don't leave notes around.
Yeah, it's intense. It almost makes you feel initiated just by reading it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you've joined some secret club. What reasons does the author actually give for needing all this secrecy?
There are a few angles presented. One is protecting the knowledge itself, like from people who might misuse it or just wouldn't understand.
Okay, makes sense.
Another is sort of protecting the reader from, it hints at negative consequences, though it's a bit vague about what those are early on. Intriguing. And maybe subtly protecting the author, too, from backlash or misunderstanding of the practices.
That's an interesting point, though, because, you can buy the book.
Right. That's the thing.
It seems a bit off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This huge emphasis on secrecy, but it's commercially available.
It is a contradiction, a definite tension there.
So is the forbidden part maybe more about psychology? Getting the reader invested?
That's a really sharp point. It could be. Maybe the secrecy isn't about owning the book, but about actually doing the rituals, keeping those secret. Or, maybe it's just a hook. A way to make it sound more potent, more desirable because it's supposedly hidden.
Makes you wonder about the whole setup. Okay, so secrecy is established. Then we move into ritual. Chapter 2. That's the title. On prayer and magic and what you need in life. Pretty direct.
Very direct. And it shifts gears, right?
Yeah.
Now it's about your mindset. How you need to be for these rituals.
Yeah, talks about being calm, focused. Mentions deep breathing, visualization.
Standard stuff in some ways.
It does. But then it introduces this concept of aligning with a great eternal spirit force.
Right. What's that about? Is it presented as a specific deity or more like universal energy?
It seems more like a general universal force, something you tap into rather than a specific religious figure. It's a common thread in, a lot of esoteric paths, connecting to some kind of source energy.
Okay, so less theology, more metaphysics.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And the chapter also touches on desires, wanting things.
Oh, yeah. What does it say about that?
It acknowledges wanting material stuff is normal, part of life. But it cautions you, don't ask for frivolous things. Be serious about your requests.
Focus your intent.
Exactly. And it brings up the subconscious mind, too. It suggests that your deep down beliefs and desires really influence whether this stuff works.
That's fascinating. It connects these, spiritual rituals to psychology almost.
Precisely. It mirrors ideas about suggestion, belief, how powerfully they shape what we do and perceive, like athletes visualizing success.
Very much like that. If you truly believe the ritual works, maybe that belief itself changes your actions in ways that bring about the result, even without, actual magic happening.
And the clear intention piece reinforces that. You need a target for your subconscious.
Right. Know what you're aiming for.
Okay, then chapter 3, ritual and imagination. This seems to double down on the mental side.
It really does. It states pretty clearly, focused thought, strong mental pictures. That's how you supposedly direct these spiritual forces.
And it gets practical, too. It lays out morning and evening things to do.
Yeah, specific little practices. Facing east, saying certain invocations to that great eternal spirit.
These sound almost simple on the surface.
Deceptively simple, maybe? Because the book stresses you need consistency, real focus. It's not just mumbling words.
So the secrecy from chapter 1, maybe it's about preparing you mentally for this kind of demanding practice.
That makes a lot of sense. Filtering out those who aren't serious enough to commit to the focus required. The real work seems to be in training your mind, strengthening that connection, maybe, through repetition, visualization.
Making your mind the tool.
Exactly. Becoming effective at manifesting what you want.
It also mentions candles, doesn't it? Like specific instructions on placing and burning them.
It does, yeah. Details about placement, burning times.
Why the focus on those small details, do you think? The physical objects.
Well, that's super common in ritual, isn't it? Across loads of traditions.
True.
The specifics, colors, timing, materials, they usually carry symbolic weight. They're meant to help focus your attention, create the right atmosphere, and add power to the ritual itself. Following instructions precisely becomes part of the discipline.
Okay, so we've got the secrecy-building mystique, the mental prep, the imagination. Now it gets concrete. Chapter 4 gives actual rituals.
Yep, examples. Rituals for examinations and for wealth.
Okay, the exam one. It involves, what was it, a contract of work.
Yeah, written in red ink. And you do it on a specific day, Thursday, linked to Jupiter. Then you visualize succeeding and carry this contract with you.
That sounds almost like, well, like a supercharged positive affirmation.
That's a great way to put it. It really does seem to harness intention, visualization, plus this tangible object, the contract, to focus the mind. Maybe boost confidence, too.
And the Thursday Jupiter link.
In astrology, Jupiter's often tied to knowledge, expansion, luck. So Thursday is seen as a good day for learning or important undertakings. Whether you buy into the astrology or not, it adds a layer of meaning.
Interesting. Okay, and the wealth ritual, that one sounded a bit more involved.
And a little more complex, yeah. It uses a green cloth, white paper, ink, and again, specific timing, Sunday or Friday. Ideally, it says when Venus is in a good aspect with Jupiter.
Okay, astrological timing again. For listeners not up on astrology, what's a good aspect between Venus and Jupiter generally mean?
Very basically, it suggests their energies are aligned harmoniously. Venus relates to value, attraction, prosperity sometimes, while Jupiter is about abundance, luck, growth. So them being well aligned is seen as like cosmically supportive for attracting wealth.
Got it. Auspicious timing. But this ritual also mentions drawing circles and writing specific names. Lucifer, Magat.
Yes. That's definitely a shift, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, invoking a name like Lucifer, that might raise some eyebrows. Does the book explain that choice? Or give context?
Not really, no. It doesn't go deep into the history or meaning of these figures. In some Western esoteric traditions, Lucifer isn't always seen as purely evil, maybe more like a symbol of light or forbidden knowledge, but the book doesn't elaborate.
And Magat.
That's a less common name. Its inclusion seems specific to this particular ritual within this book's system. It just presents them as elements needed for the ritual to work. Assumed you'll just go with it, perhaps.
Okay. And then, similar to the exam ritual, you keep the paper you inscribed.
Right. Keep it in your purse or pocket.
Again, that physical reminder keeps the intention active in your daily life.
Exactly. It's like an anchor for the whole process, a constant, tangible link back to the goal you set during the ritual. Reinforces it subconsciously, perhaps.
Okay, wow. So we've covered quite a bit. The intro setting the stage, this heavy emphasis on secrecy, possibly as preparation.
Preparing the reader, setting expectations.
The focus on mindset, calm, visualization, imagination as the engine for the rituals.
Yeah, the internal work being key.
And finally, these concrete examples for exams and wealth, showing how the principles are applied with specific steps, timings, even names.
It's a dense start, definitely. It lays out this framework blending, psychological techniques with these quite specific esoteric or magical practices.
That secrecy element really does add a layer of mystique throughout.
It absolutely does. While the rituals themselves, they give a taste of the practical side, unusual as they might seem.
So for you listening, we've sort of navigated the entrance hall of this book of forbidden knowledge. We looked at how it builds its case, hidden knowledge, the power of your own mind and focus, and then these rituals as the how-to.
Yeah, we've tried to just lay out what the book says, the ideas and practices it contains, without necessarily saying this works or this doesn't, just understanding the source material.
Right, but it does leave you with a thought, doesn't it? Thinking about belief and focused intention. How much power do they have in getting what you want? Whether you're using a ritual from a book like this, or maybe just setting goals in a more conventional way.
That's the lingering question, isn't it? What's really driving things? Is it the specific ritual steps, the secret names, the timing?
Or is it the sheer force of your own belief and the focused energy you pour into something? Something to maybe mull over as you go about your day. The power of the mind is pretty fascinating, regardless of the framework.